Welcome to Street Sign Storytime, where every street has a story, even if I have to make it up. Today, we are going to be talking about the MVP of American street names, Main Street. Yep, the OG of street names. There's over 10,000 main streets in the U.S., making it the most popular street name in the country. Take that, Elm Street. Now, Main Street got its name because, well, it's usually the main street. It's groundbreaking creativity, right? But behind every main street, there's a tale. And boy, do I have one for you today. Let's go ahead and drop some truth bombs. The National Road was America's first federally funded highway, say that 5 times fast, authorized by Congress in 1806. This wasn't just any road. It was the backbone of early American expansion. By 1825, towns popped up along the road like mushrooms after a rainstorm. And in the 80s, it was bustling again with settlers, merchants, and dreamers heading west. They called it the Main Street of America. Because in those days, if your town wasn't on the National Road, well, you probably weren't getting a lot of visitors. The road connected towns, economies, and people like a colonial-era Wi-Fi network, except much slower, bumpier, thanks to all those wagon ruts. Now here's where the fun begins. Legend has it that back in 1825, a man named Jebediah Shortcuts McCorkle set out to prove he didn't need the National Road to make it to the big city. So Jebediah was a stubborn type, the kind of guy who thought maps were just government suggestions. We all know somebody like that, right? One fateful day, Jebediah loaded his wagon with barrels of homemade moonshine and declared to the townsfolk of Frostburg, Maryland, "Who needs the National Road? I'll blaze my own trail." Unfortunately, Jebediah's shortcut turned out to be a muddy deer path. 2 hours in, his wagon sank axle deep in a bog. His horse gave him the side-eye of disappointment, and Jebediah's moonshine stash accidentally got lighter. By the time he stumbled back to town, smelling like swamp and regret, the people of Frostburg were already enjoying imported goods from the National Road's steady supply chain. To this day, locals say the phrase "taking a shortcut" is Frostburg slang for, well, making a terrible life choice. Let's do a little fun fact break. The National Road stretched from Cumberland, Maryland to Vandalia in Illinois. It was the original Route 66 before cars were even a thing. People started calling it Main Street because it ran right through the heart of many early American settlements. Today, much of the National Road is part of U.S. Route 40, so next time you're road tripping, you might be driving on a piece of history. In the 1840s, the National Road had a second wind as railroads connected to it, and suddenly it was like the cool kid who started trending again. Towns along the road thrived, and inns and taverns lined the route, offering travelers a place to rest. Another fun fact, one of those inns allegedly charged extra if you wanted a room without a ghost. Main Street isn't just a street, it's an idea. In literature and pop culture, it represents small-town America. Even Disney has a Main Street USA in all of its parks to give you that nostalgic small-town vibe while charging you $15 for a churro. So what's the takeaway here? Whether it's a main street in your hometown or the grand old National Road, streets aren't just ways to get somewhere. They're paths to history, culture, and sometimes moonshine-fueled misadventures. I feel like we've all had one of those, right? Just me? Okay. Well, either way, thank you for tuning into Street Sign Storytime. And let me know your favorite quirky street story in the comments. Until next time, keep an eye on the signs and maybe avoid shortcuts unless you're feeling adventurous.